Okay, so good morning, class. Okay, so we're in our subject elements of design. So here your topic is about conceptual, visual, and relation. Okay, so first let's discuss yung tawag ito, objective natin. So here we're going to identify what is design, and then the introduction to elements of design. I think um, ano naabutan niyo na yung reading visual arts or art appreciation or arts and humanities. So, dito sa topic na to, I think siguro kung parang kayong naging teacher doon, may siguro parang i-recall lang natin yung mga things na ano natin sa elements of visual arts. Okay, so first, let's discuss yung what is design. So, syempre, pag tingnan na natin yung design, it is some kind of effort in beautifying the appearance of things that it's the definition. Okay, so sorry yung word ko. Okay. And then, every time na ano natin, we're looking surroundings natin, there's some patterns, something like that. So, doon natin makikita na everything surrounds us has a design. So, things like na meron tayo sa bahay, painting or sculpture. And then, design is an industrial product that must fill practical needs. And then thus, it should not only be just aesthetic, but also functional. So next, let's discuss yung visual language. So visual language is the basis of design creation and principles, rules, or concept in respect of visual organization. A designer can work without conscious knowledge of any of these principles, rules, or concepts because his personal taste and sensitivity to visual relationship are much more important. So, the question here is, paano natin interpret yung visual language? Siyempre, dito, in this part, meron maraming paraan para interpret natin visual language. So, hindi siya parang katulad ng spoken or written language or which the grammatical laws are more or less are established. So, I think, like you, Gen Z, I think you are Gen Z. So, familiar kayo sa mga subliminal messages or things like memes. Diba? So, sabi nga, meron yung sinabi sa isang kanta na, I'm not sure kung anong kanta yan, pero luma na siya. A picture paints 1,000 words. Diba? So, sa isang image, meron tawag dito, maraming pwedeng interpretation. And then, the visual language has no obvious laws. Diba? Each design theories may have a completely different set of discoveries. Diba? So, as you look at me, example ngayon, diba? Oh, so, meron tayong visual interpretation kung ano yung nakikita natin ngayon sa harap nyo. Okay. So, next, let's discuss yung ano natin, elements of design. Actually, if we look closely, 4 siya talaga. Pero, in this part natin, sa subject natin, dalawa lang, 3 lang po siya ngayon. Wait lang, medyo magkulo. TV lang. Okay, so usog lang ako dito. Okay. So, first, we have yung conceptual elements, and then second, we have visual elements, and then relational elements. So, titignan natin yan, ano ba yung pagkakaiba ng conceptual elements, visual, at relational. So, let's proceed. So, first, sa conceptual elements, we have what we call the, yung mga, point, line, plane, and volume. So, dito, first natin is yung conceptual point muna. Okay? So, sa conceptual elements, we have yung conceptual elements that are not visible. So, as you can see here. So, first, we have yung point na tulad nga na sinabi kanina natin. syempre, pagdating sa point, it has no length, breadth, or depth. So, usually, meron tayong tinatawag na point A or point B pagka nag-drawing tayo. For example, if you're going to create a landscape, di ba? Meron tayong imaginary line, pero syempre may pinagbabasehan tayo sa ba mag-umpisa yung dulo ng lapis natin, di ba? Sa point A, and then mag-e-end sa point B. So, the single place where lines intersect, and then the meeting of lines at the corner of a plane and the angle of a solid form. So, first, ito yung example natin. For example, sa horizontal, di ba? Or, for example, second, we have yung crisscross, di ba? So, pinaka-point niya is yung gitna niya. And then, tawag dito, sa yung square. Okay, syempre dito nakita nyo naman, nag-align siya ng mga points dito. And then, nakagawa siya ng solid form. Ganon din pagka-isometric natin ng square. So, next. Oops. Ayaw. Okay. Example ng mga illustration natin that has a conceptual point. Okay. So, kung titingnan natin yung unang poster, here we have, I hope you can see this one. Or ako naman, sige, ako naman adjust. Adjust muna ako. Okay. Sa yung dito, the tomorrow people. I think nakikita nyo na sa kagad kung nasa yung pinaka-conceptual point. We have an image here, of the hand, and then meron ka illustration na human head sa gitna. So, kung titignan natin yung conceptual point, I'm pretty sure makikita nyo na nasa gitna yung conceptual point niya. So, balik na tayo dito. And then, next, dito tayo sa yung gitna ng image natin. So, first, as you can see, meron siya, tawag dito, point A to point B. Dito yung ano niya, pinaka conceptual point. And then, last, we have yung tawag dito, photography ng top view ng parang dam siya. So, dito, next natin. By contrast, a conceptual point of view is one that perceives characteristics that cannot be truly observed, and instead only exists as concepts. So, in general, when describing something from a conceptual point of view, it's a good idea to stick with qualitative properties. Okay, so next we have yung conceptual line. Conceptual line is created as a movement of point. Siyempre, yung nakita natin kanina sa ano natin, conceptual point. It is a path becomes a line. Diba? So, for example, yung point A to point B, dahil sa conceptual point, nagkaroon na ng line. A conceptual line has no breadth or depth. It has position and direction. It marks the border of a plane, that place where two planes join or intersect to each other. So, here, we have an illustration of example of conceptual line. Diba? So, kung titingnan natin sa point of view natin, makikita naman natin dito. So, for example, sa mga landscape na to, asan yung pinaka-conceptual line no landscape. Ito rin, meron din tayo sa tawag dito, railroad. And then, yung conceptual line nung pila ng mga tao. So, makikita natin yan. Diba? So, meron na tayong pattern. So, a conceptual line is a path created by conceptual point in motion. So, balikan natin, di ba? So, first na illustration natin dito, di ba? So, makikita na natin, meron tayong linya na susundan. And then, dito rin naman sa, ano natin, second. And then, we have yung sa third. Okay? So, makikita natin na may linya tayo na sinusundan. A conceptual line has length and directions but has no width or height. Okay, a conceptual line has a direction and position. A conceptual line is bound by points. And then take note that a conceptual line forms the boundaries of a plane. So, speaking of plane, we're going to discuss yung conceptual plane naman tayo. It is created as a movement of a line and directional movement. The conceptual plane has length and breadth but no depth. So, sabi nga dito, meron tayong taas, yung haba, pero wala siya yung pinaka-depth niya. So, ito example natin sa image natin here. We have, for example, ng plane. Okay? So, here's, it defines the external limits of a volume. Kasi hindi natin masukat kung ano yung pinaka-ano niya. For example, z-axis, kung nakapag-aral na po kayo ng 3D modeling. Okay? So, sa conceptual plane, as you can see, we have the illustration na parang meron siyang 3D effect. Diba? So, tulad nito. And then this one. Okay, so, a conceptual plane has length and width but no thickness. Okay, so balik tayo sa illustration natin. Sorry. Sa ano natin, di ba? Parang makikita natin na wala nga siyang depth. Okay? It has positions and direction. So, balik tayo sa illustration. Di ba? So, meron siyang X and Y axis. Okay? So, I think familiar kayo sa X and Y axis if you ever have encountered dito, AutoCAD or Zebra or Blender. Okay. So next, it is bound by lines, and then it defines the external form of volume. And then, it marks the location of a loop or where two lines intersect. So, I hope meron tayong ballpen na kung sakali eh. Pero, okay lang yan. So, as tulad nga nasabi natin kanina, kung saan yun, nagko-connect siya. Okay, so example, di ba? Wala akong mouse. Wala akong arrow key. Okay, tingnan na lang natin yung kung gabase natin yung mga bamboo. Diba? So, para makikita mo, papunta siya sa atin, paharap. Medyo. And then, volume. Okay, conceptual, yung volume natin. It creates a movement of a plane in a direction movement. A conceptual volume has length, width, and depth, but no weight. It defines the amount of space contained or displayed by that volume. So, as you can see, dito, meron tayo, for example, na meron mga visual designs na merong volume. For example, here, we have yung kwarto. Diba? So, sa next natin is visual elements naman, di-discuss natin. So, visual elements, when conceptual elements become visible, they have what we call, first, the shape. Okay, sorry, usog lang ako ng konti. Shape, then size, color, and texture. The visible line not only has length, but also width. So, kung paano siya, we can consider this as a whole. Its color and texture are determined by the material that we use. So, first, let's discuss yung shape. Okay, I think familiar naman tayo lahat pagdating sa shape. Anything that can be seen has a shape. This shape provides the main identification in our perception. So, you can see we have Squid Game. Squid Game, no? Ganito, parang Squid Game. May square, triangle, tsaka circle siya. Okay, so, yun nga. Yun, syempre, basic shapes, di ba? Okay, so, syempre, kung meron tayong shapes, next we have what we call the sizes. All shapes have size. Size is relative if we describe it in terms of bigness and smallness. It is also physically measurable. So, dito naman makikita natin, small, medium, large. Diba? And then, kung meron tayong size, meron tayong shape. A shape is distinguished from its surroundings because of color. So, here we have the illustration na shapes na square. And then, kung titingnan natin yung size, I think, sabi natin, let's call it a medium. And then, meron tayong color. So, the blue, red, yellow. And last thing is what we call the texture. Siyempre, ano ba yung magiging niyan? Surface na papakita. Ano ba yung characteristic ng shape na ginawa natin? Diba, for example, para siyang Doritos. Okay, so, kunwari, example, para nakikita natin sa image natin, nakalagay dito, para siyang Doritos talaga eh. Diba? Magaspang, diba? So, paano mo yan yung texture ng Doritos, diba? Magaspang. O kaya, paano natin, for example, handkerchief, di ba? So, kailangan ang texture ay parang hindi siya masyadong maano, kailangan ma-silk yung ano niya, yung pagkaka-illustrate. So, ganun ko na, for example, yun yung sabi natin smooth or ano natin. So, for example, sabi natin, gusto natin yung square ay maging ang itsura niya ay parang silver, di ba? Parang gagawa tayo ng design na parang, syempre yung as a texture, parang nagpapakintab. So, yun yung example yun sa texture. And then, last in our topic is about relational elements. So, relational elements, we have directions, position, space, and gravity. Okay. So, in directions, it depends on how it's related to the observers, to the frame that contains it or to other shapes nearby. And then, we have the position. It's judged by its relationship to the frame or the structure. So, as you can see, meron tayong iba-ibang different position ng image natin. And then, syempre, if we have space, in shapes of any size, however small, occupies space. It can be occupied or left blank. It can also be flat or illusory to suggest depth. If we talk about space, syempre, kung for example, we have an illustration, paano natin papakita na malaki yung spasyo ng image natin? Syempre, malaki yung white space ng natin, illustration. Or kunwari, masyadong malaki ang yung gusto nating i-represent na character. For example, giant, diba? Tulad ng Attack on Titan, parang gano'n. For example, na gano'ng palabas. Diba? Parang i-occupy niya yung buong white space ng natin, screen. Or, sabi natin, illustration, something like that. Or, paper. And then, next is the gravity. Gravity, hindi naman siya mostly sa visual. It's mostly of psychological. As we are pulled by the gravity of the earth, we tend to attribute heaviness or lightness, stability or instability to individual shapes. Diba? Kung for example dito, makikita natin sa illustration na parang image ay parang it pulls by the gravity kasi parang tumambling yung square. Okay? So, yun po. Ito po yung reference ng natin, lesson. Okay, so, later on, I will go to have a recitation about this topic. Okay? So, I'm going to see you as soon as possible sa online class natin. Recitation lang po tayo. So, I hope you watch this. And then, we're going to have a surprise assignment for this one. Okay? So, we're going to discuss here, tawag dito, give a surprise assignment is to give an artwork that can show conceptual elements. So, ilan-ilan niya. Meron tayong point, line, plane, and volume. Okay? So, mag-ano lang sa Microsoft Word. So, upload po. Okay? So, yun lang po ang natin, surprise assignment. Okay? So, thank you. See you later on our recitation.